Now, we need to hold up for a minute. You can't tell me that this man's harem is growing this easily. The idea of more joining, I thought was a possibility, but the fact that not only does he have a drunken teacher after him in his normal world, Fantasyland, after registering with the Adventurers Guild, I don't know who this busty beauty was, but she'd been drinking a little too much, and her power level was honestly unmatched. This was her drunk, mind you, and she was able to take the assassin, the princess, and just said, nah, you little girls don't even know what to do with a man like him. Let me show him around I'm like, okay, man, if she's drunk all the time, that's the only way these other ones are gonna have any shot with Yuya, because her power level honestly intimidated me. But at this point, the harem king, all I have to say is, bravo, my man. You not only are a likable MC in a harem, your harem's honestly just unmatched. Full live reaction to episode 12 of Iseleve on the Patreon if you do want to see my full uncut thoughts. We have one more episode to go, and honestly, the fact that I've been told that season 2, if we get it, would be even crazier than what we've seen in season 1. The fact that we fought motorcycle gangs, we've saved people from a burning building, we've suplexed a grizzly bear. Mind you, this is all stuff in his normal world. We're now getting into the political side of things where princes are trying to kill princesses, there's assassins, and we're registering for Adventurers Guild. There is so much potential, and the fact that you literally like Yuya as a main character, because he kind of reminds you of like any of those animated movies where you almost have like the simple pet that just kind of tags along and maybe doesn't really have the biggest of brain ideas, but just is such an adorable mascot to the film that you just love to see, right? It's kind of Yuya. He may not know what's going on around him at half the time, but there's just something so innocent and pure about the boy that you just root for him. And when you see the insanity, it's like, as I say, it's like we almost hit all of the cliches you expect in a show like this, yet somehow they twist it into like this parody. And I think Owen as a character is like literally the collective anime community being like, are you kidding me? Probably on one hand, Owen just wishes Yuya would take the princess off his hands because he doesn't get paid enough for this bullshit. But on the other hand, every time he thinks maybe he can, he sees that, oh my god, like how many women does this man have wrapped around his finger? How am I gonna explain this to the king's already not okay with him apparently wanting to bed his daughter in front of him? Add in the fact that he has more than one lady around him. I mean, this man just can't be stopped. But this episode was pretty fun because not only do we get a fun little quick battle with the person who tried to end up killing the king and princess last week, doesn't go over smoothly for him, and the girl who's been hinted at from our talking rabbit friend who's like, I'm gonna go kill Yuya, ends up popping up in this episode, having to retreat, so maybe we'll see a fight next week, but at the same time, it almost feels like potentially that's a season 2 plot line. But either way, they're teasing a lot and kind of like getting the momentum rolling, and really, I mean, as much as some people might want to say, I wish we were more in the fantasy world this entire time, this stuff's more interesting, while I do agree, I think the idea of setting up Yuya, getting to know him as a person with his normal environment, with those Looney Tunes level bullshit scenarios, is what makes you really like him as a character. And while yes, for sure, season 2 is probably going to be even more interesting because we are getting deeper into the fantasy world, we are liking the normal world more as well, I do think this was a perfect establishing season that had your jaw drop because you couldn't believe the insanity we're seeing, but most importantly, we actually came to really respect Yuya as a person. It's like, it tiptoes on that line of being a full-blown parody, but also having kind of like a compelling character arc for him as a person. But yeah, when you are surrounded by as many women as him, of course, you're just gonna be like, this man can't be stopped, but you gotta respect the hustle. So since he registered for the Merchants Guild already, now he's registered for the Adventurers Guild. And I think we probably all had the same thought as I did. Either A, there's going to be a reading they've never seen before, or most likely what I was thinking, he was going to break the crystal ball. So we see that someone like Luna ends up with like a yellow reading, which is probably strong, all things considered, or decent at the very least, but then you have him just absolutely shatter it. And I like the fact that even though he does kind of mess up, it does show that he did take the words of advice to heart, that you have to be careful and not expose yourself as something from fairy tales. So what should he write for the magic that he can use? Well, I'm not going to say all types because I'd probably either be experimented on, thrown in prison, or just expose myself. So I'm going to say I use water, wind, and fire. Not a bad idea. Unfortunately, using even one type of magic is intense in this world, and he said he could use 3, which they're going to have to believe given the fact that he did just break the crystal ball. But still, I mean, the fact that Luna's like, what even are you is probably the only reaction you should have to our boy. And the fact that the princess is like, all right, which quest are we gonna take on? And we're like, you didn't even sign up for it. And she's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like, the show's so silly, man, and I absolutely have fun watching it. I mean, I'm actually gonna be disappointed after next week when I can't get up here and talk about it, unless they confirm a season 2. And even if they don't confirm a season 2 next week, I mean, a show like this, if Smartphone in the Other World can get a season 2, I don't see why this can't. This show has charm. It honestly, it has fun. That's at the end of the day what it wants to do, is it wants to have fun. It's, if you've seen even like 5 shows with a isekai fantasy design, you probably have a general idea of the story beats, but it's like the moments where your jaw is just on the floor, like the fact that he accidentally takes bedding out, which is, I want to bed your daughter in front of the king, or the fact that when he goes to knock on a door, he just indirectly gets thrown into this love triangle that he's not even really thinking or paying too much attention about. But Owen in the background can just be like, bro, why am I even trusting the princess with you? How am I going to explain this to the king? It was bad enough having to bring the princess assassin towards him. Now we're saying that she wants to bed you. It's like, you just can't win with this. And at the rate we're going, honestly, Yuya's going to have a harem in this entire town. Every woman, man, doesn't matter. They're gonna want to bed this boy, because who the hell doesn't want to be Yuya in this world? Because not only can he apparently one-shot most people, the fact that his power level is so unmatched, he doesn't even need to talk to people. They just come and swarm him. It is going to be insane to see if he can actually do the impossible, which is, if you have a psycho lolly trying to kill you, can he do it? Can he swap the murderous rage? If he can do that, then there's nothing that this harem king can't conquer. That's all I'm saying. It's fun, man. If you're not having fun with this, hey, move on and let us enjoy, because this show is silly as shit, but you love the main character. If Yuya was despicable, if Yuya was even like 20% like most harem protagonists, where they just feel like, oh, they're just trying to grab everyone's tits, or they're just trying to be a scummy bastard, I wouldn't like the show as much, because there's room for degenerate humor, and I think shows like Legendary Hero is Dead plays into that quite well. But a show like Cheat Skill is almost like walking that line of like, it takes itself seriously with Yuya, but everything else about it almost feels like it just has pie on its face, and it's so ridiculous and fun. And because he's almost oblivious to all the craziness, it makes it so charming. And usually oblivious MCs are a bad thing, but it's just because he's such a good guy, you just want to root for him. But then again, what the hell do I know? Maybe this is the trashiest show of the season and I'm just liking absolute garbage. But if that's the case, hey, I'm having fun every Monday and that's all that matters at the end of the day, but that's just me. Thoughts and feelings, especially on that drunken woman. What do you think? You think it's going to be a powerful ally to the harem, or maybe it's just going to be a one-off gag? Let me know what you thought down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, ring that bell, of course, so you can get notified when I upload more Iseleve on the channel. And as I mentioned, full live reaction to this wonderful episode is available on my Patreon if you're interested. And while you're there, you can also get a video shout out like Squidward, Roger Mullins, Kowalski GPZ, and Alexandria the Blue. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.